All right.
And in our in here.
Okay, let's try this one more time since we got cut off and deleted. As you reflect back on your lesson, how do you think that it went?
Okay. I said that overall, that the big goal that I wanted to accomplish, he didn't get the, as high of the goal, I guess, as I set, but he did pick up on the concept. He got the overall concept of it, and sometimes my goals are a little too lofty, so in the future I'm going to have to make sure I bring that down. And remember, we do only have an hour and 15 minutes with our student, so he might not get as much of it as of the concept, but at least he did get the overall, just basic concept that I was aiming for.
Okay, good. How do you know that he grasped part of the concept that you were trying to teach?
He was making connections. He was giving me a little bit more of deeper thought process to it, because in the past I'd ask a question and he would just give me a yes, a no, or an I don't know, or no, I have no experience with that. So he was actually giving me some concrete examples of connections that he could make with the text.
What else did I ask you before? How about...
Oh. What did you ask
What would
me?
you change about your lesson?
Oh, okay. I would change more oral reading with him.
Okay.
Because we did start some of the literacy circle roles, and I gave him the role of the connector to get him to make connections. But his reading, even his silent reading, he struggles with determining the words, so I think he has too much going on. If he's trying to read to himself, that adding one more thing he had to be thinking about while he was reading was just too much for him. So I would probably have more oral reading and give more think alouds and model more as I was reading, to give him the idea that, okay, as we're reading, we're thinking these things, maybe not out loud like I am, but in our head, so that as he becomes a more fluent and better reader, because he's also working on the word attack strategies, then he can add that to it, because he is comprehending what he's reading, but then asking him to connect was just one more thing, I think, that overwhelmed him maybe, and because he made no connections while reading.
Right.
But afterwards, when he was given examples, he could make connections.
Okay, good. Are there any, I know you said you would model and, do more oral reading with him. Is there any other strategies that you would help him with silent reading, since he is going into 7th grade?
Right.
Is there any other strategies that you've maybe thought of doing with him to help him while he's silent reading? Because he's at school, he's going to have to silent read.
Right.
That would alleviate the too many things going on at once?
I've started to, based on that lesson and then previous or next lessons that I've done after that the oral reading with him, and just work on what strategies does he already use, and then what other strategies can we use that good readers use to help us determine the meanings of words, and if it fits in the context. And so just working on the strategies that good readers use, so that, but out loud, to make sure that he's understanding that, and I can hear the miscues and help him with those strategies, so then he carries them over into his silent reading. So as he's learning more of them and becoming aware of his use of them and starting to use them a little bit more, then they'll carry over into a silent reading, so then he will be able to use those and have the strategies to go to like that, so then he can be still comprehending, but also still making those connections while he's reading, because he's not focusing too much on the actual just word.
Okay, good. So you asked me to, during this lesson, to focus on your questioning of him, and how do you think that went with your questions?
I think overall that it went well, because he was giving me better responses than he was in the past. I mean, I know that sometimes I feel like I must have given him different examples, or maybe it was just a new week. I don't know if it was a fluke with him, but in the past I felt like I was giving a definition, an example, and then I'd just keep rotating the same two definitions and examples over and over again, and I was getting nothing out of him. So I don't know if it was the text or if it was I was giving the better examples, more definitions, more wait time, but he did seem to be giving me more response other than yes, no, I don't know, than he has in the past.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that was more because of my questioning and changing that up a little bit, but...
Okay. I don't know how to word this one, but do you feel, I did make a list of all the questions that you asked, and like I said before, I'm trying to break it down into what kind of questions you had asked him. Do you feel that there's a set amount of questions that you should be asking him at a certain point, or?
I feel like that I have to monitor myself. I should monitor myself as to where to cut off.
Okay.
Because sometimes I keep asking the same questions over and over again, and I really am getting nowhere. So then I'm kind of, I think, sometimes frustrating myself. Like, okay, why isn't he getting this? But then so just cut it off if I ask maybe 2 to 3 questions and he's still not giving me any kind of response, then just move on with it, and maybe then the next time that opportunity pops up, to kind of, so let's try this in a different way and maybe elicit a response from him that's more what I'm looking for.
Okay. Alright, good. Did we talk about anything you would change for next time, or no? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, more oral reading for next time.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, I think
Is there anything else you'd like to reflect upon?
No, since we already did. I can't remember.
This is their second go round. Yes.
Second go round. So I think we're good.
Okay, good, thanks.